Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, and double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Salutations and peace and blessings to the elect, hopefully elect out there, who will be doing this work in sincerity and in truth. Alright. The serpent in the Garden of Eden was not actual snake. Right? The serpent in the Garden of Eden was not an actual snake. It was a man, and that man later became the Edomites. That man later became the nation of the Edomites. I ain't going to go into it too bad, no deep thing. I just want to show you, and all the brothers in GMS should know this. You know, it's for people who never see it. This is Genesis 3:1. So it says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh powers had made, and he said to the woman, unto the woman, yea, hath the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? You look up that word serpent. When you look up that word serpent, come from the Hebrew word nakash.
Strong's H 5175. Nachash. Nachash.
Right? And Nachash says serpent, snake, image of serpent, fleeing serpent. Right? But you go to the root word etymology of the word. Use the root word etymology.
Strong's H 5172. Nachash. Nachash.
Right? Nachash, right? So this is a primitive root, meaning you can't break down this word no more. You can't break down this word no more. You can't go beyond this. This is what it would mean. It says an enchantment 4 times, divine, enchanter, indeed, certainly learn by experience, diligently observe. This is what it means. To practice divination, divine, observe signs, learn by experience, diligently observe, practice fortune telling, take as an omen. A2, A1 is to practice divination, to observe signs or omens. Strong's definition: Nachash, a primitive root properly to hiss, i.e. whisper, a magic spell, generally to prognosticate, certainly divine, enchanter, use, enchantment, learn by experience, indeed, diligently observe. Senior's Hebrew Charlie Lexicon, unused in Cal, an onomatope word IQ, to hiss, to whisper, specially used of whispering of soothsayers, compare Nassau, to whisper, to practice enchantment, to use sorcery, You see? To use sorcery. And that is what the serpent was on. A snake. A nasty man who does teach people sorcery, teach people witchcraft, teach people enchantment. You understand? That is the serpent. That is the serpent. That is what the serpent taught Eve. To learn that, because Eve never knew about that. And that is the tree Eve went and eat of her. The evil, the wickedness, sorcery, enchantment, witchcraft. We not supposed to do that. And that is why Eve never eat no damn apple. And that proved that it didn't have two people on the earth. It had more than two people on the earth. Because a literal snake can go and come and teach you about sorcery. This was talking about a man who was dealing up with, on the left hand side, dealing up with wickedness. That is what the serpent was on. And that serpent is the Edomites today. I'll just read the scripture. This is Nahum 3:1. It says, "Woe to the bloody city. It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. The noise of a whip and the noise of rattling of the wheels, and of the prancing horses, and of the jumping chariots. The horseman lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear. And there is a multitude of slain, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of the corpses. They stumble upon their corpses. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts." Who is that? That is the so-called white man. That is the well-favored harlot is America. The multitude of whoredoms is all the things where they used to be selling. Say families, nations, and they use what? Witchcraft. They use divination. They use sorcery. They use all of that to conquer people, to keep people asleep, to keep people docile, and all of that. And that talking about the so-called white man, the witch, the sorcerer. That talking about here. I'm gonna just get this next precept real quick. Isaiah 47 and 9. Read from 8. It says, "Therefore hear now this, thou art given to pleasure, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am and none else beside me. I shall not hiss, I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantment." Now this talking about the United States of America here right now, and what America, who rules America? The so-called white man. Job 9:24 say the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. In the Apocrypha, 2 Ezra chapter 6 verse 7, 8, 9, coming down that line say Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. So this talking about Esau's kingdom. And they're talking about when the Lord take down Esau's kingdom. Because when the Lord take down Esau's kingdom, the Lord go and rule and the people of the Lord go and rule. So we're talking about when the Lord come back, because if you read Isaiah 47 and 3, I'm going to go up to it. I read from 1, it says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground." Virgin daughter. Why virgin? Because it's virgin because if I never had sex with a girl, she's a virgin. If a girl never had sex, she's a virgin. This daughter, a Babylon virgin, because it never been touched by no man. Meaning, it never been interfered with, it never been penetrated, it never been shot at with missiles, it never been destroyed, it never had a city in America that was destroyed and the rest of people had to live forget our city and live in the other 49 states, because this one city been destroyed by bombs. No, that never happened. All America living comfortable right now. You understand? Nobody never bomb America. America pure. America never been touched. So that is why he's a virgin. And it's the daughter of Babylon, because it's not the original Babylon. That is Babylon daughter. Babylon gave birth to this place. You understand? It had the same wicked philosophy of ancient Babylon, because the word Babylon come from the Hebrew Babal, which means confusion, and that is what America is completely about. Confusion. So it says, "O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground, there is no throne. O daughter of the Chaldeans." The Chaldeans is a people who does deal with sorcery and witchcraft too. You understand? And the scripture called the Edomites king of the Chaldees. "For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind meal, and cover thy locks, make bare the legs, and cover the thighs, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man." This talking about Yahushua. So he talking about when he come back. "I will take vengeance, and I will not meet you as a man." Now when Yahushua come back, he coming back to destroy the so-called white man empire and set up his nation empire, which will fulfill 2 Esdras chapter 6 verse 9. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it, right? That will fulfill that. So this destruction here we're reading about in Isaiah 47 and 8, no, verse 9, where he say, "But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood." This talking about so-called white man. You understand? This talking about Esau kingdom. Because when Esau about to fall, is Jacob had to come in right after. I know I is one of Jacob's sons through the Spirit of the Most High. So this talking about Esau. "In one day the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of enchantments." This is the serpent. That is the serpent. That is what the serpent was on, and that is the same thing Esau on. "For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me." That is all the Illuminati and all of that. He trust in that. "Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off. Desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now in thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth." From thy youth. From all the past life, from all the past times, right? From the forefathers, which one of the forefathers go straight back to the serpent in the garden. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. He says, thou hast wearied the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators, and remember we now read about that in the as the serpent. That is what the serpent was on. Stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. That is the serpent they're talking about, right? That is the serpent. So that is just it basically. You know? Esau is that serpent. Because it's talking about Esau. Because when Yahushua say he going to come back, it's to come back and destroy the so-called white man. And set up his kingdom. It ain't no coming back and take some of his people, carry them up into space, stay there for 1,000 years, then come back, and then no. He coming back to bring destruction one time. So when he is the so-called white man he talking about here, and when he do that, Jacob go and rule. But you see, the serpent and the so-called white man, they're going hand in hand there right there. With that, I will do a part 2 to this. With that, I will say Shalom. Barakatah Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai.